Welcome to the Fit Affiliate podcast, where we talk about behavior and behavior-based conversations as they relate to CrossFit affiliate owners and coaches. My name's Lisa Hetherington, and I'm your co-host. Sitting alongside me are Tony and Chuck, the founders of Fit Affiliate. And welcome back to another episode of the Fit Affiliate podcast. Today, I am super excited to have the one and only Cristina Anderson on the podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm well. How are you?
I am awesome, thank you. Cristina comes to us with a long experience in coaching, also gym management, being a head coach. So I thought this is a great opportunity to have you on and, talk to people who might be in that similar role, because we know it has its, own journey, which is a bit different from affiliate ownership and just being a coach and affiliates. It's a whole different perspective. And I know you've got some unique thoughts on some things. So what I thought we might kick off with, though, is, what was your journey to CrossFit and then, into coaching?
Yeah. So I started CrossFit a long time ago, back in 2012. And I never was fit as a young person. Didn't play sports. I was in the marching band. So if that gives you a little bit of a clue as to the kind of kid I was. I was the typical band geek, and when I went to college, I started getting interested in, just wanting to get healthier, lose weight, which was always an ongoing battle for me. But when I found CrossFit in 2012, I was like, well, I actually like this. I don't enjoy working out, but I really liked CrossFit, just the way that the workouts were designed. It kept me engaged, and I was super into it. So I got really into it, was doing the classic, 2-a-days and eating really strict paleo. And I dove in a little bit too hard. And I ended up having a really unfortunate experience. My coach at the time, I think there was just a lack of awareness on both sides as to what was going on with me, because I ended up, uh, you know, towards the end of my journey at this gym, ended up in rehab for an eating disorder. Because
Wow.
yes, my let's say my fixation on achieving results became extremely unhealthy. So I ended up having a pretty large falling out with that coach. And then I did absolutely nothing for like 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, during that time, it's interesting because I gained a lot of weight. I gained over 130 pounds, and I, still always loved CrossFit though. I would
Mm.
watch CrossFit on YouTube, like CrossFit Games recordings of, Rich Froning. And, I'd be sitting there with like a tub of Ben and Jerry's, like, come on, let's pick up the bar. What the hell is wrong with you? But, it just never left me, even though I, started living this incredibly unhealthy life.
Mm.
So, fast forward to, it was around 2018. I had just had my first daughter, and I remember very vividly right after she was born, and I had a pretty traumatic C-section. And like the first thing they do after surgery is they get you on a scale. And I like literally, like, I remember them being like, we need you to stand up and get on this scale. Like that was my first task. And I couldn't even fathom sitting up in the bed, let alone standing on a scale. But I remember looking at that scale and it read 390 pounds. And
Mm.
granted, that was like a lot of trauma to my body. I had just gotten out of surgery. So I was
Yeah.
very like, full of fluid, excess, blood, all that. But I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like this has gotten a little bit out of my control. And
Mm.
so as soon as I healed from my surgery and kind of got my feet on the ground from having my first daughter, I went back to CrossFit, and then it kind of just, it was like ground running ever since. I
Yeah.
realized that because of my experience and kind of what had happened with my first coach and how unhealthy it became, and just how much of a negative experience that first experience was. I wanted to be a coach so that I could, use my story as a way to prevent anyone else from having that same experience, because it was very traumatic, very
Mm.
detrimental to me for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been, you know, shattering to go through that, then have, a kind of falling out over it, and
Yeah.
think, well, maybe this is not for me, and then completely rebound the other way, which
Yeah.
totally understandable the way that things went. So, how have you found, and I really love talking to other female, coaches and female affiliate owners through this podcast, but what sort of barriers did you find and challenges that put up to you? A, being female, but also B, working through your own life challenges and, weight loss journey and, just, being you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge battle. I think the fact of the matter is it's, you don't want to like put those stereotypes out there, but it is true. When you're working in the fitness space
Mm,
and a male who has visible abs applies for the same job as a female who does not have that body type, more times than not, the job will be based on aesthetic, is what I
mm,
have discovered in my journey. And it's unfortunate, but it's also driven me to just have this like insatiable desire to be the best.
mm,
So I have put so much into my development as a coach, as far as time, the amount of courses that I've taken, simply just making myself so good that there wouldn't be a question, right? I
mm,
walk into a room, I'm the coach, and I'm going to help you get better. And I'm going to show you empathy, and I'm going to have you have a very positive gym experience. And there won't even be a second thought of what I look
mm,
like, or whether I'm a female, or, what it
mm.
might be.
It's just
And
about the experience.
yeah, and I think that my journey actually came full circle recently, because when I first started coaching, I was doing an internship at a gym, and it was made very clear to me that I was never going to be hired.
Mm,
Like, yeah, we don't really have a position for you. I was working there for free at the time, so I was just kind of trying to do whatever I could to like establish myself and maybe end up in a paid position. But
mm,
I was very much encouraged to, that wouldn't happen. That wasn't available to me. And I
mm.
remember very distinctively 2 weeks after I left that internship program, they hired a coach who was a male who had abs on top of his abs on top of his abs. And so it was a very clear message to me, and it was fine, because it's like, there's a mismatch of values there. That's okay. And now
Mm.
fast forward, it's been 2 years, and I just was hired to replace a male who has abs on top of abs on top of abs. And um it's wonderful to realize that, what, like, yes, that's a real thing, but like if you're strong and you work really hard, you can overcome it. So,
Yeah, and you don't have to be defined by it. It doesn't have to
yeah.
be something that that can limit you. It's just, one piece of advice someone gave me a long time ago, and it's very hard to follow, but is, what other people think of you is none of your business. But it is very hard to live that every day, particularly in, the fitness field and, you know, things that can impact you. How did you find your journey going from, okay, great, I've got a coaching role to now I'm going to step up into more of a leadership role? How was that transition for you?
It's I mean, it's challenging. I have learned so much in the past couple years, but I think that the biggest thing for anybody out there looking for a leadership position in a gym is that you have to realize that 9 times out of 10 you are holding a full-time position and this is your career, and everybody else that you work with is doing this as a side gig. And there's
Mm,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand the realities of that, and you have to understand the realities of what your team can actually provide and what
mm,
you're expecting of them. And it can be frustrating because you're sitting there giving your everything day in and day out, and it can feel really lonely.
mm,
And I think that's actually what really drew me to reach out to you guys at Fitfiliate, because I had seen a post, just talking about how lonely being in that leadership position at a gym can be, because you're
mm,
constantly surrounded by people, constantly. The members just need something from you all the time,
mm,
and you're the one who's there. And the coaches are there, but only for their specific scheduled time. And then they have entire lives outside of it that that they need to be concerned about too. And so you're kind of left there in charge of it all. And it
mm.
and it can be really heavy at times, for sure.
Yeah, well, you tend to be in that gray area because that same loneliness can be felt by an affiliate owner for sure.
Mhm.
But, as that head coach, gym manager, you kind of in that role where you are feeling the same things as the affiliate owner, but you don't necessarily have the ability to make the decisions to change course, take
Right.
things forward. You've got another layer above you to work with, so you're kind of stuck in this no man's land with. I want to progress things, but it's hard because I'm not getting anything back from the affiliate owner that might be completely remote. Just here, just run this beast for us. Um, but and you treat it as your own, but you're still limited by that. So I think a lot of people in that gym manager, head coach role can get kind of frustrated.
Yeah.
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 And it's how did you deal with that? Like, um, I see a potential here. I see an opportunity or creating an initiative. How did you approach that in trying to push some of those things forward with the ownership that you have worked with?
I think that the biggest key is that if you're going to come to your owners with problems and problems and problems, it's just not going to work. You're both going to get really frustrated with each other, because you may
Mm,
be trying to express something that's a very real thing, but by not coming with potential solutions as well, it's very overwhelming for your gym owner, right? So
mm,
as somebody in a leadership position, and this is something that like I really had to learn, because for me, it wasn't so much that I didn't have solutions. I always was a little bit timid in my delivery, right? Like I was always afraid to kind of come in and say, this is the problem and this is what we should do. But
mm,
you kind of have to do that, or at least provide a couple different options of how that problem could be solved. Because all you're doing in that case is bringing some more stress to your
mm,
affiliate owner, which is, as we just mentioned, they're also struggling with the kind of loneliness that comes from being at the top. And you know you and your affiliate owner should be working as a team to come up with solutions to face any of the issues that may come up at the gym.
mm. Yeah, it can be a weird space to be in where, as an affiliate owner, I understand that perspective of sometimes you're afraid to give all the information because it's like, wow, they're going to see that I am writing this line and I have no idea what I'm doing, but somehow I'm in charge. Or that, well, you're going to take my information and maybe run off and go and do your own thing, which, as we've discussed on the Fit Affiliate podcast, numerous times, is if coaches were to figure out really what goes on behind the curtain, they're not running off to open their own affiliate in a big hurry. They're just like, no, I can
Yeah.
work in this space. But, it can be that challenging space. But I think a lot of, and you've been very proactive in seeking feedback, not only in your coaching and your ability to continue to develop through, the CrossFit um, levels, but also personal feedback on your growth and development as a head coach and as a leader. Um, do you feel like that there's a, a limitation in that space where, head coaches, gym managers feel like, well, why would I get a mentor or a coach I'm not running a business per se?
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to make that call, to seek out the help of a mentor. And I think, um, a lot of times it's no secret that it's really a lot of work to run a gym, and
Mm,
a lot of times can be not very lucrative work. So to come across excess money, whether it be you're the affiliate owner trying to pay a manager or a director of operations, or something, a role like that, whether you're trying to come up with that money, or whether you are that person in that leadership role who's trying to make a living out of coaching, um, that can be a challenge. So then to make the decision to spend money on a mentor is, it's a tough call to make. But at the same
mm,
time, I think that the nature of the job is that, unfortunately, coaching is not widely respected as an actual profession,
mm,
because so many people do it on the side, which again is totally fine and wonderful. I think part time coaches are so great. But because it's not really respected as a career, I think that, at least for me, there was a lot of, you know, am I even like legitimate enough to
yes.
seek out a mentor? Like, I do
Yep.
I even do a job? So it's like, it's kind of this, like, you need to just have that self assurance of like, no, I am a professional. I want to be a professional. And so therefore, I'm going to seek out a mentor to help me get to that pro level. And
Mm.
once you get there, I think it's like, you know, yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, once you realize that it is that hard little thing, because people tend to think. I know for me, when I first went into coaching and opened the affiliate, so many people said, "Yeah, but when are you going to get a real job?"
Mm,
And even though, I owned the affiliate, so as a business owner, I was working very long hours, there would be different times people would say, "Oh, good life you have," or, "Just get it through the business." It's like, well, the business still needs to have the money in the bank account. Or, yeah, I left home at 3:45 this morning and I'm home at 9 p.m. Okay. Just because you might have had a 1 hour nap in the middle of the day or something, or you've just sat down and stopped. And because you work in your activewear all day, it's like, it seems like it's a hobby. And you're right, there are so many part-time, trainers, which, we need in the ecosystem for sure.
mhm.
Um, with our $1 Million Coach program, and the, free plug for the $1 Million Coach podcast, um, as well. But, that's one of our as key missions, is to, help coaches, be able to earn a reasonable income and live, doing what they love, not just, I have to do this other thing alongside it to support it. Like, there are millions of people in the world that still need to be access to CrossFit to solve the biggest problem in the world. But there's not enough coaches to do that at this point. Like, we need to have, people coming through the ecosystem in whatever level, but we need those full-time leaders to be able to grow and develop that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
what's one of the biggest advantages, I guess, or one of the biggest aha moments, I guess, you've had through going through, particularly the fit affiliate style of mentoring, where we're not going to, I guess, we talk a lot. There's a lot of gurus out there who will just give you templates and give you, here, do this. That can be a little bit, for the affiliate owner, it can be hard enough to implement stuff that doesn't quite fit. But for that gym manager where you're stuck in between, if someone gives you a template of, here's your operations, go do this. So you've then got to filter it through the affiliate owner, or whatever. So the fit affiliate model, where we don't tell you what to do, we ask you better questions. Um, how has, what's been the biggest aha moment for you through that journey?
So I think initially I was actually vetting out two separate avenues for finding a mentor. And one was, as you said, felt very cookie cutter to I want to own a gym or I want to
Mm,
start a great affiliate. And at that point, I was at this like kind of crossroads of I knew that I wasn't making a living wage. So I knew that I needed to like level up in some way, but I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know if I wanted to own an affiliate. I didn't know if I wanted to start my own. I didn't know if I wanted to buy one. I didn't know if I wanted to, try to figure out a way to like help the affiliate that I was already in so that they could pay me more. Like I literally had no idea what the route would look like. And so then when I, looked into Fitfiliate, my first conversation with Tony was it just felt very open. Like,
mm,
okay, let's figure that out. And so
yep,
it didn't feel like I had to commit to any specific road forward that he was telling me was the best road. It was more
mm,
like he was going to help me to figure out what is the best road. Now, initially, that was frustrating at times because, you know, as we talked about earlier, I was in a place where I was feeling incredibly lonely, incredibly underpaid, and just really not knowing which way was up. And I wanted the answers. I wanted the answers of what was the next step? What am I going to
mm,
do? How are we going to make this successful? And I didn't realize that by going through those hard conversations and asking myself some really tough questions, how much I was learning and growing. And then in the time between when I started with Fitfiliate, which was right around like beginning of November, I believe, end of October, beginning of November to now, January, I have accepted a head coach position full time at a gym that has more than doubled my salary. And I have so much more confidence than when I initially started. So all of that like wiggle worm through the land of no answers actually got me really far, much further than I think I would have gotten had I not chosen that path.
yeah, and that's a big, progression to come, and we often see that when clients come in, they're, unhappy, they're uncertain, like, for affiliate owners, they're like, "Do I close it? Do I sell it? Do I get out of it?" Like, this is not why I opened it, and getting back in touch and being okay with dreaming big and having that magic wand. And for you, I think it allowed you to really explore a lot of the options. I know you've gone through the process of looking to purchase an affiliate, so you've
Yep.
done, some due diligence work and you know been down that path, and then looked at the path of, well, do I open something or whatever? And you're still keeping options open. And with all of that, like, there's no closed books, but seeing your value, I guess, is a big thing for you. Would you agree?
100%. A hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah. It's a big thing, isn't it? Like, particularly as women, because we tend to, you know, just, keep your voice down kind of thing.
Yep.
Whereas, once you can tap into that inner, like, no, I know that I'm worth more than what I'm currently, achieving, and I need to just find the right environment and be prepared to do the hard things to get to that environment. It's a challenging, and it can be, as you said, frustrating, and you can tend to it can be tempting to go, this is just too hard. I'll just stay where I'm where I'm safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
How do you
100.
get past that feeling of like, this is just hard? I just want an answer. Like, I just want to stay. I could just stay where I am and just figure it out.
Um, that's a great question. I think I mean, I'm even like I'm thinking now as you're speaking a little bit about my journey, and I just very distinctively remember that when I started at Fitfiliate back in November, I was pretty dead set. Like I was like, I'm not leaving my gym, just so you guys know. Like we're going to find a way. Either I'm going to buy it or I'm going to buy in or I'm going to like, we're going to figure it out, but I'm not leaving this gym. Like
Yep.
dead set. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I remember one of my first meetings with one of the affiliates that I was interested in purchasing. And I was panicking before the meeting, trying to find like all of the details of all the data that I needed to, prove that I knew what I was talking about in business. And, I was just really stressed. And I asked for a call with Tony, which you're able to book at any time, which is great. But I remember like getting on the call with him and I was like, okay, Tony, like I have this, 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 and this. What else do I need essentially to prove myself? And he just like, without even flinching, he was like, you want to buy the affiliate, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, ask them how much it is and then tell them, okay, I'll buy it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that's it? Like, you want me to walk into a room with a bunch of men who are really fit and really powerful and say, how much is your gym? I want to buy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And I remember driving to the meeting and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's absurd. Like, I just, like, like you said, I've always been trained to just be as small as possible, keep my voice down, like, don't say anything that might ruffle any feathers. But I will never forget that meeting when I walked in and I said exactly that. And the gym wasn't for sale. But I survived it and I gained so much confidence just from that little thing that I didn't want to do. And I think there were so many other little steps along the way where I had to do similar things, reach out to other affiliate owners and say, hey, so are you interested in selling your gym? That's
Mm.
a completely, okay question to ask. But
Yep.
by exercising that muscle, I became stronger and stronger and more confident to go out and really seek out exactly what I wanted. So I think it just, I don't know that there's a specific way that I overcame the challenge of that because I definitely had
Mhm.
those low moments where I was like, I could just quit this whole thing and just stay where I'm at and it's
Mm.
comfortable. But every little challenge that was set forth for me by either Tony and Chuck or by you, I did it and I just kept getting stronger and stronger, just like we do in the gym. You
Mm.
just gotta you just
Get
exercise.
reps under the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get those reps in. And isn't it funny how when we think about, you know, you're probably doing them the favor by buying their affiliate, and you still feel the need to qualify yourself as,
Yeah.
like, if you go to buy a car, you're not like, "Hey, I've got a license, I've got a perfect driving record, like, I'll take really good care of this car that you built. Can I buy it?" Rather than like, "I've got money. Are you selling? Okay." And still feeling that need to justify ourselves. And
Yeah.
you're right. I've had a front row seat to your, you know, growth and progress through, and we've had some really um, great coaching calls
Mhm.
um, about, your journey and getting past some of those roadblocks. So that's been a privilege for me to be part of, for sure. I think one of the things that drew me to Fit Affiliate as a client, when I'm still a client, as well as, on the coaching team, but is that it's not just about the work, the coaching, the affiliate. It's actually about you, the person, as well. So for me, it wasn't just about the affiliate I own, but it's like, well, how are you doing and what's important to you and what matters to you? And I think that approach, again, is very different from here's how you be successful and here's the template. Is that your experience or?
Yes, for sure. I think that a lot of times, previously to me getting introduced to Fitfiliate, I had conversations where, I wasn't able to really process what was going on. It was kind of like, okay, here's your problem. You're not making enough money to support your daughters. Your job is not providing a living wage. Leave it and start over. And I feel like it was so easy for other people to say, um, it just it's not when you're actually like in the shoes, living that, it's just really difficult to understand the amount of emotional, connection that's there. Um, and so it's not that simple at all. And so it just, the model that Fitfiliate offered was very much like helping me to come to that conclusion on my own, I guess, is like the short way to
Mm,
put it. Because in my experience, if you tell somebody to do something, even if it's the right thing to do, if they didn't make that choice on their own, it's not going to be quite right. But by going along the journey with you guys, I was able to kind of make the decision that I needed to make based on when I was ready to do so.
mm.
So therefore, I'm ready to move forward, and I've done like the personal work on the inside to make that happen. And I think that it's just like that's a really important step that regardless of how much time it takes, it needs to happen.
Yeah, and it is very much that if we tell someone what to do, then they're likely to not be as invested in actually doing it. I mean, we all know with our clients, they can drink more water, eat more broccoli and chicken, but
Yep.
telling them that every day is not happening till they come in one day and say, you know what? I found out that broccoli and chicken are really good for you. Really?
Yeah.
Good. But once it's their idea, they own it and they can more invested in making it successful. So that's for sure. That's why we are definitely not in the talk at you, the advice business. And because, this is your journey. We want your dream to be your dream because that's what makes the affiliate model unique and also, allows for people who maybe aren't in a position to own an affiliate to still have that leadership role within an affiliate without having the ultimate, burden, hanging over their head as the owners. So also for you, like if anyone wants some, fantastic, inspiring, funny social content, definitely follow your Insta on the at coach underscore Cristina Anderson. Tell me about the evolution of that, of finding your voice in that space as to being very real and authentic and telling your story. Like, what's your purpose with that? And, what drives that for you? I mean, you could just hide yourself away in the affiliate and keep doing your thing, but you're kind of creating this other um, sort of awareness, I guess, out there, as yourself.
Yeah. My mantra with that is that I try to show up on social media as the person that I needed when I was in my darkest times. And so
Mm,
that's me being real and sharing really vulnerable moments sometimes,
mhm,
that feel really scary to share in the fitness space, to be completely honest. And so the reason why I know that it's right is because I've gone through bouts where I'll share a bunch of stuff and I get a bunch of people telling me like, "Oh my gosh, like I feel so inspired. I feel like I can do this. I love watching your videos. I love when you share." And then one person will say something like, you know, "If you're a CrossFitter, then you don't eat sugar." And then I shut down and I completely
mm,
stop sharing and I stop going on social media and I crawl into my little bubble. And then I don't feel good. I'm essentially just not living my authentic life. And so that starts to wear on me. And then some time goes by and I come up with an idea for another post. And then another 10 people say, "Oh my gosh, like I can totally relate to that. Thank you so much for sharing." And that really fills me up. So I've just come to realize that even though it makes other people uncomfortable sometimes, when I'm actually living the life that I want to live and being the person that I want to be, I'm happier.
mm.
And it just so happens that when I'm happier and I'm doing those things, there's a pretty decent handful of people who are affected by that in a good way. And so that's kind of what drives me to continue. But
Mm.
it is challenging. It is really challenging to speak out, um, about things I guess you could consider controversial in the fitness space. But that's why that voice needs to be there, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was really pleased to see, like, you talk about that if, you'd have, 10 people going, this is amazing. And one person would go, you know, you should do this. And you'd go back in your bubble. In the last couple of weeks, I think it was, I saw, you'd created some content and you'd had somebody come and make a comment going, you're teaching people it's okay to be unhealthy, da 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 da. And instead of going back into your bubble, you responded like with a, completely badass lifting and saying, "Yeah, you know what? I'm strong. I can lift. I'm not going anywhere. Like this, you know, I'm not defined by this one little part of me that might not meet everyone's ideal of aesthetic, or you're not getting my message." So I think that was really powerful. And like when I saw that, I was like, cool, this is like big forward step of like, okay, I'm not hiding away now. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep accelerating through this. And I think that that's been a really good, I guess social media has its good sides, has its bad sides.
Yes.
I kind of get stuck between the yes, it's a powerful tool. No, God, it's just full of trolls. But you know, there are people who sit there and scroll and look at that stuff who are sitting and going, that's right, that and feeling seen through that post. So I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of space for that rather than the traditional influences.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a powerful thing.
Yeah. I mean, something that I've learned along the way, and it's still really hard for me to swallow it sometimes, but it's just like, you're just not everyone's cup of tea. And that phrase is so cliche and everybody says it, but like to truly believe it and just understand that like not everybody is going to like me,
Mm,
and that that's okay, because the amount of people that are positively affected by my presence on the earth is so much more important than the other handful of people who are not picking up what I'm putting
mm,
down. So it's I think that specific incident that you brought up, the absolute absurdity of the comment is what really kind of woke me up. Like the sentiment that me existing in this body as it is, the comment was something along the lines of, there are children watching.
yeah. Yeah.
There are children watching, like as if my body is so offensive that for a child to see it is me promoting being unhealthy.
Mm,
And so the absolute absurdity of that notion was what was kind of clicked for me of like, wow, it really doesn't matter what these people think. I really need
mm,
to focus on what the other people are saying, the ones who need to see this, who need to see that you can be fit and healthy and take care of yourself, but also exist in a body that may not meet society's standards for
mm.
excellence. So,
And the irony of that there are children watching. You have two little girls who
yes.
you are an amazing role model for strength and empowerment, like every single day. And go, yeah, children are watching, and isn't it great? Like they're learning that, to walk through life to their own beat, which I think is, you know, something amazing. But you're doing it with a bit of humor and a bit of fun, and like I enjoy seeing some of the challenges I've thrown out to you in coaching calls play out in the reels and the
Yeah.
socials, and I go, if we talked about that, and you're just putting it into play there. So I think that
Yeah.
you know it's an important um, thing to put that energy out there. And I remember when I first started doing my own personal podcast, and I went, "Oh, I've hit send." Oh, butt puckering moment, and a good friend said to me, "Well, it's out there now. It's not your business anymore what happens to it. Like you can't control how people will perceive you or receive you, and
Right.
just the fact that you put that out there, that's what you can do. That's enough."
Right.
As we go for a little walk, um,
We're not
that's
watching.
it's not your business, and like you said, you can't control what some people are never going to be happy,
Right.
and that's okay. It's the people who need your message will hear your message.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
exactly.
I think that that's a really, really powerful thing. So just, before we wrap up, because I know that your time is incredibly valuable and you've probably got a million things to do apart from mum life and coach life and all the things that you juggle. Um, if
Fun
you've
stuff.
come on all the fun stuff, yeah, that's right. Um, you know, you have someone sitting in front of you that goes, yeah, I want to be a professional coach. I want to
Mhm.
make, coaching, something that I can do and that it affords me freedom in my lifestyle. And, I want to be the best I can be at this and I want it to support me. What's your advice to them on how to, move forward through that journey?
Well, I say first and foremost, you really need to figure out your why and like really, really dial it in. Um, I think that was, one of the first exercises that we did when I signed up for Fit Affiliate was to fill out a very extensive kind of diagnostic, just with many questions surrounding something of a why or a mission statement, the reason that you do what you do. That's the first thing that you need to do. So if you're at all unsure, which as I was, right, I really wasn't sure of what my path forward was going to be, which I think makes it even more difficult to kind of push forward on this journey to becoming a professional. But you need to first dial in why you are doing this. And it doesn't have to be fancy and it doesn't have to be earth shattering. But if you don't know why you're moving forward, you're not going to be able to move forward. So, I think it takes a lot of looking back, why did you start? Why do you like coaching people? Why do you enjoy this position? What do you envision in the next 5 years for yourself? Really like digging deep to try to figure out what's at the core, and then from there, trying to find just little opportunities to, again, exercise those little muscles. And, even if you have to do something crazy, like call somebody up and say, "Hi, I'd like to buy your gym. How much is it?" It's a question. You're just being
Mm,
a curious person. But the more that you ask questions like that, so like going back, let's say if I went back to that first scenario and it was, "Hey, I want to buy your gym. How much is it?" Okay, well, it's going to be X. Maybe in that moment I would be like, "Oh no." Like this is not what I want. But then right? So you start to just take little mini steps forward, and eventually you'll find a path. Something will start to light up, another opportunity will come up. So I still think that for me my ultimate path is being an affiliate owner, but for right now I've accepted a job as a head coach at another affiliate to get more experience under my belt, and it's just another stepping stone to get there. I think that that's another really big key that people have to realize. This is not like a 0 to 100 in a day when you decide what you want to do with your life. Every single step of the journey is playing into the next step, and you have no idea how that's going to play out. And you just have to, trust that you're going to get there one
mm.
small step at a time. I know it's another cliche, but like, how do
No,
you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? You just have to keep forging ahead with that why directing you where to go.
mm. Yeah, if you don't have that why, then it makes it really hard to do those small steps and keep pushing forward even when there's setbacks because it's just like, I just think it would be cool to be a coach and wear my activewear all day.
Right.
That's not going to hold you very firm when things are going awry.
Mhm.
So I think that's a great insight. I have loved today's chat. I have the benefit of chatting to you every week in our coaching calls, but this has been something very different. And I, thank you for your openness and your honesty. Where can people, follow along with you if they want to, see some of the content that you're putting out?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, coach underscore Cristina Anderson. There's no H in my first name, so that is usually trips people up. But Coach Cristina Anderson. I try to get the stuff out there, give the people what they want. um, Other than that, I do plan to start my own podcast. That's my new goal. So hopefully that will happen. And
I
once
know
you,
someone who can help you with that.
yeah. Oh,
I know.
I wonder who.
I I don't know, but I think they have some experience in the space, so you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
I can connect you up. But all joking aside, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. We
Yes, of
appreciate you
course.
here at Fit Philly. You're
Thank
making
you.
huge inroads, and to see your growth and to see smiley, happy, glowing, ready to crush life and new challenges is certainly, part of our why for sure. So go crush your day, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, my friend, for listening to the Fit Affiliate podcast. If you would be interested in hopping on a free call with us to just kind of chat about what you think your problems are and what you think the gap is between where you're at and where you want to go, we can see if maybe we can help you along that journey, figure out if we're all a good fit to do some sweet things together. So click the link, set up a consult. Let's help you identify some problems that we can mutually solve.